So welcome again to our mathematics learners for the quarter 3, week 8 of the Mathematics 9's Learner's Pocket. So this one will be the part 2 of the application of similar triangle theorems and proof of your Pythagorean Theorem and solving related problems. So in this part, we are going to discuss the learning task number 2, learning task number 3, and the assimilation part. So we'll try to explain on how you're going to answer, and then there are some parts that I'm already going to give you the answers for these areas. So let's start with learning task number 2. So for learning task number 2, you were given with solve the following Pythagorean theorem given the figure below. So there are some parts here that we can use your geometric mean. So for example, we're given with number 1. So we're just going to answer and then erase so that you can come up with a given example. So for number 1, we're given with dy is 12. So dy, this one is dy is 12. And then our dw is 27. So dw is 27. And the unknown here, we're asked to find dh. So ito po yung nawawala. dh. So let's name it as x. So we can use here your geometric mean. So what's that? So to find your dh, we're going to have the square root of our segments, which is your dw times your dy. So we're going to have the square root of our dw is 27, our dy is 12. So if we're going to have the answer for this one, the d value of your dh will be the square root of 27 times 12 is 324. So that means the value of your dh here is 18. Okay, so that is for number 1. So I hope you got that one. So let's proceed now with number 2. Let's erase first your number 1. So for number 2, okay, our given here. So let's erase first our given for that number 1. So our given for number 2, you're given with HW is 41. So HW, so this one is 41. And you're given with DW, which is 40. And the unknown here, ito po yung DW natin. And this is your HW. And the unknown here is the value of DH. So this is our X. So we can simply use here your Pythagorean Theorem. So this is our value of C, this is our A, and this is our B. So our unknown here is the value of B. So again, our Pythagorean Theorem is stated with C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. So we're given with your C, which is 41, the value of A, which is 40, and our unknown is B squared. So we're going to have your 41 squared is 1681 is equal to 1600 plus your DH squared. So we're going to, or your B squared. Let's erase that one so that it will be clear. That is, this is B squared. So you're going to have 1681 minus 1600 is equal to B squared. So if you're going to subtract, that is 81. Then we're going to get the square root of both sides. So the value of B is 9. So that means the value of your DH is 9. So what we have a while ago, so that this is 18, this is 9. So let's erase first number 2. So I'm just going to give you now how you're going to answer numbers 3, 4, and 5 by giving you a clue on what formula you're going to use to solve numbers 3, 4, and 5. So basically, you're going to use here your Pythagorean theorem. So for number 3, let me erase that one. Let's use white. So, okay, so for number 3, so we're given with dy and dh. So you have here your dy and dh. Your unknown is hy. Your unknown is hy. So to get the value of your hy, you're going to use that your hy squared is equal to your dh squared. So you're just going to get the given plus your dy squared. So that's how you're going to solve your number 3. Then number 4, you're given with hw and hy, and your unknown is your wy. So that is also the same. So to get your wy squared, you're just going to have the square of your hw plus the square of hy. Then you're just going to get the square root of both sides. And with number 5, that's also the same. So that is also wy squared is equal to hw squared plus your hy squared. So that's, and you're going to get the square root of both sides. So that's how you're going to answer numbers 3, 4, and 5. Okay, let's proceed now with learning task number 3. So these are problem solving. Okay, so for learner task 3, you have here 5 questions. So I'm just going to answer at least 1 and 2, and then I'm just going to lead you on how you're going to answer numbers 4 and 5. So let's start with number 1. So for number 1, you're given there with if the hypotenuse of a right triangle measure. So we're given here with a right triangle. So let's just draw your right triangle. So you're given with a right triangle. If the hypotenuse is 25, while a leg or one of the leg is 24. Let's just use this as 24. What is the measure of the other leg? So this is unknown. So to get that, so let's say this is your A, this is your B, and this is your C. So our unknown is the value again of B. So our Pythagorean theorem states that you have C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. We have the given, your C is 25. You're given with A, which is 24, and we need to find the value of B. So 25 squared, that is 625, equals 576 plus your B squared. So if we're going to transpose, 625 minus 576 is equal to B squared. So if we're going to subtract, this is 49. So to get your b squared or your b, get the square root of both sides. So the value of our b is 7 meters. Or this is the value of the other leg. So that's for question number 1. Let's have question number 2. So number 2, we have a tower casting a shadow of 7 meters. So we have here a tower. I'm sorry for that line. Let me make it something straight. So we have here a tower, cast a shadow which is 7 meters. So 7 meters shadow. And then a vertical stick. So let's have here a stick. Cast a shadow of 0.6 meters. If the stick is 1.2 meters, okay, dudugtong lang natin. Okay, how high is the tower? So this is the unknown. So in this case, we can use a proportion or to solve this one. So we have here 2 triangles, and we have your similar triangles here. You have your small triangle, which is 1.2 and 0.6, and the other right triangle, the bigger triangle, this is 7, and this is unknown. So to solve this one, we have the 7, we have here first the base, we have 7 over the 0.6 is equal to the value of x, which is the unknown, over 1.2. And by cross multiplication, we're going to have 0.6 meters is equal to 8.4, which is your 7 times 1.2. Then dividing both sides by 0.6, the value of your x, 0.6 meters. Okay, let me change that one. So that must be x, 0.6x. So the value of x will be 14 meters. So that means that the height of the tower Casting a shadow of 7 meters is 14 meters. So that's the answer for number 2. So for 3, 4, and 5, I'm just going to guide you, give you the given and maybe the proportion. Then it's up to you now for the computation part. So number 3, we have here the length of a shadow. That's the same as your number 2. So let's just draw a triangle, the same triangle. This is a triangle inside another triangle. So they are similar triangles here. So we have here a 1.6 meter casting a shadow of 2.8 meters. Then, how high is an electrical post? So this is the electrical post in your back if the length of its shadow is 20 meters. So from this part up to this part, so the shadow is 20 meters. So you're just going to use again your ratio. So to solve that one, you're going to have x over 1.6 is equal to 20 over 2.8. So you're just going to use your calculator, cross multiply, then solve for the value of x. Okay, let's proceed to number 4. So for number 4, you're given with the size of a TV screen given by the length of its diagonal. If the dimension of the TV screen, so let's draw a TV or television here. If the dimension, so the dimension is given here, is 8 inches by 15 inches. So what is the size of the TV screen? So we're just going to get its diagonal. So you're just going to use your Pythagorean theorem. So the unknown here is the value of C. So C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. So the value of your A here is 15 and the value of your B is 88. Then you just need to find the value of C. So number 5, you have here a 13-meter ladder leaning against a vertical wall. If the foot of the ladder is 5 meters away from the wall, how high is the ladder? So here we have here a 13-meter ladder or 13-meter high ladder. Leaning against a vertical wall. So maybe this is the wall. And then, if the foot, this is the foot of the ladder, this one. If the foot of the ladder is 5 meters away from the wall, so this is 5 meters away from the wall. How high does the ladder reach? So how high does the ladder reach? So we can use again here your Pythagorean theorem, assuring that this is the value of your C. This is the value of your A, so the unknown is the value of B. So the formula will be again C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. So we're just going to use the same formula and just put all the given to answer this question number 5. So I hope you understand that one. Okay, let's proceed with the assimilation or the assessment part. So for the assessment part, we have 3 questions. So I'm just going to lead you with number 1, and I'll give you the answer for number 1, and then I'm just going to lead you with numbers 2 and number 3 for its correct answer. So let's start with number 1. So given here where you have to complete the statement. So we have here a given. So this must be equal and this is also equal. So we have here two triangle bisector theorem. So we have here we have to get the proportional or the ratio which is proportional with a given ratio. AE over EC. So we have here AE over EC. So we have to get the two sides which is AD over CD. That is AD over CD. That's for A. For letter B, we have AB. Let's erase first this one. For given with AB over AC. So you have your AB over AC. Then just have to get its segments. So that is BC over CD. BC over CD. Then we have another question. That's question letter C. If the value of BC is 3, let's write the given. The value of BC is 3. Then DC, BD pala is 3. Sorry for that one. Then the value of our DC is 4. We're given with AB, which is 6. And the unknown is our AC. So we're just going to use your ratio, which is the ratio with letter A, or letter B. So we have AB over AC, which is proportional with BC over CD. So with our given, we're going to have your AB and your AC is unknown. Our BC is 3. Our CD is 4. By cross multiplication, we have 3x is equal to 24. Dividing both sides by 3, the value of x is 8. Okay? So let's proceed with question number 2. So for question number 2, we're given with a 45, 45, 90 triangle and a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So let's note first that one. So we have here your 45, 45, and this is your 30, 60, 90 triangle. So in this part, we have to get first the value of your x before we can get the value of your y and your z. So let's take note one by one. So to get the value of x, we know that this is a 45, 45 triangle. So if this is a 45, 45 triangle, our given is the hypotenuse. Actually, we were able to discuss this one last week or 2 weeks ago on week 6 to 7. So if you're going to take a look at that video, we can see that to be able to get the value of your hypotenuse, you have to multiply your legs by the square root of 2. And if your given is the hypotenuse and we need to find the legs, we have to multiply your hypotenuse by square root of 2 over 2. So again, so you're to find the value of x, that is your hypotenuse, which is 6. You are going to multiply it by square root of 2 over 2. Okay, so hypotenuse. Then, we need to find the value of your y. Okay, so we can only find y if you already have the value of x. So to find the value of your y, so that is the value of our x, and then you have to divide it by 2. So you can only find the value of y if you already have the value of x. Then finally, for z. So to find the value of your z, you should already have the value of your y. So to find the value of your z, that is the value of your y, multiply to the square root of 3. Okay, so that's how you're going to find the value of your x, y, and z. So you start with finding first the x, then your y, then z. So that's a domino effect so that you will be able to find the values of each variables. Then, last number. So we have here the figure describe a camera with digital sensor with x, y. So this is the x, y, this part. So with x, y, which is 35 millimeter, with focal length of 50 millimeter. This one is the 50 millimeter. So that is the 50. So you have the 35, you have the 50 millimeter. And what is the width of the scene AB? So this is our unknown. Okay, given also that this is 3 meters. So this one is in millimeter, this one is in meter. Okay, so this you have to find the width of that scene. So let me give you first one specific example Okay, let me erase first that one. Okay, so looking at this example, you will be able to see that the height is 1.8, that the distance of the person to the camera is 2.7 meters. Then you have here the point 10. Ang nawawala is ito namang kabila. Okay? So, to be able to find that, so that is your distance 1. So, that is your distance 1 will be your camera. So, distance 1 over, why is it 0.10? Okay, 10 centimeters yung given on. So, you have to make first, they are given with the same unit of measurement. So, you have to convert it first to meter or both to millimeter so that you will be able to find the answer. So, d sub 1 over the given length, so this one, so yung kanyang distance from the rear camera. Then you have here 1.8 and then your 2.7. So that's how you're going to make the ratio. Then again, that's cross multiply, divide both sides so that you will be able to find that it is 0.067 meters or 6.7 centimeters. So let's erase first that one so that we can go back. So let me have, okay. So going back here, so it's either you convert it by millimeter or you convert your meter by millimeters. So I think you just have to convert this one by millimeters. So your 3 meters could be equivalent to 3,000 millimeters. Okay, so I'm just going to give the ratio. So this is the value of your x, which is your unknown. So if I'm going to write the ratio here, we're going to have x over 3,000 is equal to 35 or 35 over 50. So just have to cross multiply, then divide both sides by 50, and that will already be the width of the scene. Okay, so that's all for the assimilation part. Okay, so I hope you do understand, or the assessment part pala yung kanina, on how you're going to answer the engagement, assimilation, and assessment part for our quarter 3, week 8 of the Learner's Pocket for Mathematics 9. So again, see you again on our next video. That's already for our quarter 4. So we are already done with 3 quarters. So see you on our next quarter, which is quarter 4. And I hope you will be able to answer all your learning tasks for this week. Thank you and God bless.